HCTV Sports is supported by The Spool House. From prom to weddings, let us suit your formal wear needs. Culver's of Hastings. From savory butterburgers to sweet scoops of frozen custard, we've got something handcrafted for everyone.
Making the play.
He gets the pin. Raiders are clawing their way back in this game.
Just snipes one.
It's over. Save. Oh my God!
Did you see that?
Great diving play.
He's hit a touchdown. Hastings Raiders win the ball game. From McNamara Stadium at Todd Field, this is Minnesota State High School League football for week number 3. And we welcome you to McNamara Stadium at Todd Field for Hastings and Chaska. The Raiders and the Hawks meeting right here on HCTV. Alongside Owen Ely, I am Nick Tubner, and we are back after our week 1 broadcast. The folks up at BEC did a wonderful job with the week 2 game. We were able to follow along and watch the Raiders, oh my goodness, put the screws to Bloomington Jefferson, putting up over 40 points. And not only that, Zach Shady Shattuck sets a school record in the process on the ground. He is over 600 yards in 2 games when it comes to rushing tallies, and he has been some sort of a weapon. As we welcome the mailman, Owen Ely, into the mix, you and I both haven't been able to sit still since we left week 1. All week 2 did was make us even more hungry for tonight, and then you bring a team like this ranked in the top 10 to town. This is going to be so much fun tonight.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, I have been buzzing all week thinking about Friday, especially after that Bloomington Jefferson performance. This is probably one of the more highly anticipated matchups that this team has had, and maybe you would know better than me, but at least in the time I've been here, this really feels like a big one, maybe on the precipice of a big season where maybe you compete for Mr. Minnesota, maybe you compete to get to the state tournament. It really feels like this year could be different, but it all starts here against the number 8 team in 5A according to Strip. But for what it's worth, the Raiders just on the doorstep of that top 10. Others receiving votes.
Right. So you're just outside that top 10 when it comes to especially Strip, but mostly throughout the state. You look at some of the AP and everything else, same goes. Not much difference between the rankings here as we get ready for this one. The rain is falling before this game here tonight. We had a pretty substantial rain shower move through that was a little bit everlasting, it seemed, and it stopped raining. We were very good for a little bit of time, but now the rain has again started, and so they're going to go ahead and play in the rain here at least to start things on HCTV. The Raiders will receive the football. That is because the coin toss was won by Chaska. They will defer to the second half. So that's where we begin this one. Chaska will be in their road white uniforms with the purple trim, very reminiscent to the kids down Highway 61 at Red Wing High School. 12 minutes on the scoreboard.
For 38,
Lamabin will kick it off. Right-footed booter from the 40, left to right on your TV screen. And here we go in the rain at Todd Field, week 3. And the football is in the air. The football will be taken just on the line off the 10-yard line. Here are the Raiders back to the near side, finding some room too across the 20 to the 23-yard line. It'll be Carter Herman O'Brien. So again, one of those guys that have made impacts in all facets throughout the season so far. And the Raiders, speaking of making impacts, will come out with their offense first.
Yeah, and we'll see how this rain plays into it. Obviously, it's a very rush-heavy attack, but the quarterback, Hansen, 270 passing yards through 2 games, which, doesn't sound like a lot for college or football, but at this level, we always say it, that's a pretty prolific passer right there. You got to figure he's only going to get better as the season goes on. We'll see what he has in store here for game 3.
Hansen sends 2 men in motion to the right side, stacked off the line, man in motion across the line. Birkin is a handoff to Shady, gets through the first initial burst at the line of scrimmage across the 25 to about the 30 with a little slip and slide on the turf here. And like Owen said, we're going to have to keep an eye on the turf and how that might affect the game, especially early on.
Now, everybody knows about the big performance from Shattuck against Bloomington Jefferson, but there were plenty of other players that had great performances. Grant Birkin, 75-yard kickoff return in the fourth quarter of that game. Plenty of players deserve their roses from that one.
We're definitely going to talk about that play throughout this game tonight. Here's a handoff. Shattuck, he runs into a stout wall at the line. Not many times this year that we have said Shattuck stopped at the line, but that's what happens right there. It'll be third down, about 5. Did get about half, I say 2 yards, Manny Hill says. Wonderful PA announcer here at Todd Field.
And while the Raiders have a great rush or a great passing attack as well, you got to figure for Chaska it starts and stops with Shady Shattuck and stopping him.
That also means that a couple of the other Raiders will need to step up in certain situations and make their presence felt as Shattuck takes the pitch, backs into the line, tries to get close to the first down. He's short by 2.5 yards. It's going to be fourth down, and the Raiders right now, decision time, and it looks like Hansen's still on the field talking with Coach Cook, and he will remain on the field. Fourth down, about a yard. All right, big play early on for Hastings offensively.
You got to figure very similarly to the New Prague game that possessions and scoring plays are going to come at a premium here.
Fourth down, 1 yard to go. The Raiders hand off Shattuck. He will maybe just get enough for the first down. Shadenko saying yes. It looks like the official spotted him right on the 35. That's a first down. Yes. Move the chains. Raiders on fourth down early. Go for it at home. You got to like that early on, just showing some faith in the boys after a 2-0 start.
Well, that's what it is. It's confidence and it's faith in your team. And I always love, clearly that was a first down, but you never see the defense saying that it was a first down. You never see the offense saying it wasn't. I just love those situations.
Raiders get the first down. Hansen on a rollout. Right side intercepted. Threw it into a posse of purple. Right side interception. Chaska 30, 25. Breaks a tackle 20, 15, 10, 5. Down at the 2. Hansen picked off, and a great return nonetheless on the play as number 26. Maxwell Eckel with the interception. And a big start for the Chaska defense. So Epple, the 5'8", 150-pound defensive back, makes a big play here. And the Raiders in some trouble early.
Well, and it felt like that was a passing play. We have to pass the ball, but if it's a passing play, you certainly can just tuck and run. You don't have to feel forced to throw the ball there, and you know, the receiver, none of the receivers were open. Sometimes in plays like that, you just gotta take a 0.
Yep. Raiders still trying to hope to hang a 0 here. Matthew Welter, 6'7", 210-pound quarterback under center. Yes, 6'7". Man in motion to the left side, and he'll keep it himself, and the 6'7" QB is in for a 2-yard touchdown run. Matthew Welter, a 2-yard run, makes it 6-0 Chaska. And a just easy off, fake handoff. Thought about the trap, instead keeps it. Boy, 6'7" tall. Not much the Raiders are going to do about that here this evening.
Well, it doesn't get bigger than 6'7" right there, but that is a nightmare start here for Hastings after they had confidence in the team. They got that critical fourth down in their own territory, and that is not how you want to start what figures to be a close game here.
Lolleman, freshman kicker, 5'9", 150, right-footed kicker. He kicked off as well for Chaska. The holder is Sam Summer. He waits, senior D-back. Long call, long wait. Still no snap. Whistle blows. Now we're set. Snap high, pulled down beautifully. Kick is up, and the freshman hits it. And it's 7-0 Chaska early on here on Hastings Community Television. So not a long drive by any means. And the little Quarterback keeper here working off the left side, kind of split the guard and the tackle as he gets in there. And boy, he's going to be an issue. He's a big guy. You don't see, quarterbacks in high school at 6'7" tall.
Well, and we've seen Hastings at times struggle with bigger runners. They figured it out later in that New Prague game, but it was something that kind of carved them up a little bit. So at least it's something that they're not unfamiliar with. But he certainly figures to be a problem here. And just an aside, just from the pregame, watching the special teams, it seems like Chaska's got a pretty good special teams as well. It looked like their range in pregame was about 45 yards for a field goal. So hopefully this is a close game here, and that might factor in as well.
It's pretty rainy in the early going, too, as Lalobin's kick end over end. This will be taken by Carter Herman O'Brien, right side, 10 to the 15, down at the 17. Didn't even get out to the 20-yard line. And a big hit there on special teams by Chaska. And number 44, Carter Powers, a 6'4", 195-pound junior. They grow him pretty big down there in Chaska. And another big play for the Hawks on the road here at Hastings, trying to take away a little bit of this energy that the team has gotten over the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny. There's just football programs that are known for their size, whether it's Chaska or Stillwater. Sometimes they just make them a little different around the cities. But you're right. We need the Raiders to get some sort of positive play here to try to stop the bleeding here early on.
9:05 to go. We're just underway first quarter already, 7-0. And this is the Hastings Raiders' second offensive drive as Shattuck will rumble for a yard, maybe 2, under 9 to play as the clock will run. 7-0 your score as Chaska leads here on HCTV.
And this is why I liked that passing play. I didn't necessarily like the pass in that situation, but, you are going to have to stretch the field a little bit, because as good as Shattuck is, the entire focus of this defense is going to be stopping a guy who is just a total game wrecker.
Tight formation again for Hastings, and they'll pitch it out left. Shattuck 20-25 to the 26, and that's where he will be taken down after a modest gain on the play. We'll say gain of about 3. Oh, Manny says 6. That wasn't even close to what the TV guy said. Third down and a long 2 here with 8:06 to play. First quarter, Hawks up 7-0.
And obviously he's got the nickname Shady, but you do have to wonder with this slippery, wet field here, is that going to impact, some of his elusiveness? He's still going to have it, but, a slip here, a slip there might change things in the run game.
But if we're calling him Slippery Shady, that might be a good thing. We'll have to wait and see. Here's a handoff, and we're going to get a whistle. This might be delay of game against the Raiders. False start instead. I'm 0 for 2 on prognostication early on. That's wonderful.
We'll blame it on the angle up here.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of the angle, as I look across the field, not as big of a crowd as what New Prague brought, but they've been vocal far side to Chaska fans. But look at our Hastings student section, as full as it gets ever here at Todd Field. Not only that, decked out in pink for tackle cancer. Third down, 7 to go for Hastings after the penalty. Hansen on the roll. He will send it to Foss at the 20. Falls ahead, 25 to the 30. 35 out of bounds there. First down, Raiders. Great catch, but you can't even talk about that without talking about what he did after the catch, because he shook a big tackle, found enough yardage for the first down, and then some to give the Raiders some breathing room.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, you're reliant on Yak right there. Maybe we start calling him Slippery Foss. I don't know if it rolls off the tongue, but it certainly was what's true right there.
Raiders down 7, but on the run here. Offensively, second drive of the game. Opening touchdown came on a 2-yard drive, and the 6'7" quarterback plunging in for 2 yards in the score. Here's Shady again, back to the line, throwing backwards. Might have lost a yard. He might have got to the line. We'll have to see. Looks like left foot spot will give him a short gain inside of a yard.
And this is very early on, but what I'm noticing about this Chaska defense, there's no holes in this defense. There's no lanes for Shady to use here. It's making it exceptionally hard for him. He could try to cut to the outside, but it seems like they've done a really good job at just trying to contain him at the line of scrimmage.
You really see that Chaska very sound in their fundamentals, especially in the front seven. Handoff here is Shattuck. He gets popped ahead to gain another half a yard or so, but a total of about 3 or 4 on the run. It's going to be third down, and again, not too long, but the Raiders approaching midfield here and a little slow to get up here. One of the Chaska players, and this might be one of those cramped things too, is Mathiasen, the 6', 225 linebacker, down. And with the humidity, the warmth early on, and really throughout this week, you're going to get those nights where the cramps are a little more pronounced, and I think that's exactly what we're getting right now with Mathiasen. So hopefully they can just work on him here, and Mathiasen kind of stretching too, kind of just wants to get that little piece out of there and feel that nerve, whatever is bothering him.
Cramps are, you're totally right about the conditions as we get a look at the head coach there here for Hastings, Dana Strain, but you're totally right. But even if it's cold, it seems like cramps are always an issue. You always got to stay hydrated. There's never a time where you can't be hydrated, and you never like to see injuries, but at least a lot of these are cramps where the player probably is going to come back in. It's not something overly serious.
And really, one thing I learned in college, especially from our trainers, was that things like Gatorade are not going to do it. You're going to need some water, old-fashioned water, some electrolyte like a banana water, some sort of coconut water, something like that. Watermelon's another good one. But that, that's Gatorade stuff's not exactly all it's cracked up to be for these kids that are active. Third down and 5. 4 it says on the board, but it's a long 4. Here's the pitch out. Shattuck trying to get outside, finds a little room, gains a little bit of yardage, maybe 2. So it's going to be 4th down and short again. The Raiders are 1 for 1 on 4th down here this evening. And with 5:38 to go, the punting team will come in this time, as they're going to say he only got 1 there, so he must have stepped out just a little bit early. That will make the decision much easier as we look at Shattuck's yards per carry, just under 10, 8 touchdowns, and like we said, now over 600 yards here on the season through 2 1/4 games so far. Raiders back in punt formation. Snap, good. Arnis's kick, end over end. This is going to be pretty decent with the roll. It'll be picked up on the run, near side, and taken down at the 36-yard line. Will be the ever involved so far tonight, number 26, Maxwell Epple, who had the big interception and a return that got the Hawks down inside the 2. First down for Chaska, and now we're going to get a little longer look, we hope, at Chaska.
13-yard return by number 26.
Well, now the onus here is on this Raiders defense. Again, it's very early in the game, but you certainly don't want to go down 2 possessions. It's going to be a critical drive here for this Raiders defense to see how they can handle the Hawks offense.
They got to reset the chains here. Handoff will go right side. Weren't even really ready on the play. Short gain, though. Good job by the Hastings defense, including Keller in on that tackle.
And on the number 20, Justin Grayhouse.
20, Rayhouse getting the carry this time.
Gain of 3. Second and 7.
Second down and 7. Grayhouse this year 2 touchdowns, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. So he's still getting a good slice every time he touches the ball. Man in motion to the far side. They're going to keep on the option up the middle. Sell the handoff, keep the football as a big quarterback and just churn ahead. This reminds me a lot of Zach Riedemann's years at Forest Lake, and I know anybody that's followed Raider football, especially back in the old Suburban East Conference, as there's Matthew Welter right there too. Boy, the big fella so far this year with those 3 rushing touchdowns, but really doesn't have a whole bunch of passing yards. The Raider run defense knowing they're going to have a long night at the office. Here it's 3rd down and 2. Kind of a wing tee this time as the handoff goes up the middle, and this will be a carry for a first down, just enough, about a yard.
Greathouse, the ball carrier.
Justin Greathouse, the sophomore back.
And sorry to go back a play here, but on that run by Welter, that's the advantage of having a big quarterback like that, because they made the tackle, but he was so big they had to pull him towards the Raiders defense, and he got an extra 2 or 3 yards, whereas if he was smaller, you could try to drive him back and stop his momentum.
He had a heck of a lot of that from the backfield onward. Left to right is another man in motion. This time keeping the football is the quarterback, and the Raiders get like 3 or 4 guys on him. But man, Welter still carries the fellas for about 4, maybe 5 yards, depending on the spot. Manny says 3, but man, where the spot they gave him up the far side looks 4 yards or so. Man, the big quarterback, you just got to jump and hope he falls down, slips on the turf, whatever.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, the Raiders, historically, they've always been really good at tackling, whether it's open field or certainly gang tackling. But when you got a quarterback as big as that, even a play that should be a yard turns into 4.
Welter has Casilla off the right side as a wing back. One to the left, Belmont. Single back, nope, keeping it. Welter trying to burst up the left side and chug along here. He'll gain another 4. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2 here. So Welter doing quite a bit of the offensive damage, but nothing too flashy here out of the Chaska Hawks. This is not exactly football that the everyday high school football fan is going to enjoy, but it's very effective.
Well, it's very tailored to the players you have. I mean, they're just running their quarterback like a juggernaut. If you have a juggernaut, it makes sense that they're playing like this.
Joe Berra splits out wide to the right this time. Now to pass, and that is going to go to Joe Berra. He makes the catch, 40-yard line, down to the 36-yard line, 1st down. And a 1st down for the Chaska Hawks, 2:41 to go here in the 1st quarter. And it's 7-0 Chaska, and they continue to move the football here on this drive. Eating a little bit of clock. Boy, they are as advertised, aren't they? 7-0 here, the Hawks lead.
That was a great example of open field tackling there from Arnis. But yeah, you had to figure at some point they were going to open up the pass game just with all these different variations of runs up the middle of the offensive line there.
Joe Berra will go out to the left side, man in motion to the backfield. Instead, the handoff on the trap up the middle of right side will gain about 2, maybe 3 yards. Great house. And about the 31, that's where he'll go down. Better gain than maybe I had thought in the first place. So 31-yard line, that's a good gain of about 5 yards. So 2:05 clock running here. Chaska doing their thing, running the football effectively, chewing up the clock, trying to limit Hastings' offensive possessions, and so far for the Hawks, so good. Again, Welter, the big QB, 6'7", 210 pounds, hands off, great house up the middle. Raiders had one man on him for just a moment, kind of blasted him backwards. Hit on that tackle for Hastings initially was Xavier Tim, and then he got some help there from a couple of his buddies here as we look at the rest of that play. And joined in on the party, of course, Keeson Esterby, who's had a tremendous season defensively so far for the Raiders.
And when they're methodically moving down the field like this, just getting 3, 4, 5 yards of play, it would be so beneficial just to get a negative play for Hastings. If somebody can just get an early jump, if somebody can make something happen, just put them behind the sticks. Obviously, critical spot on the field here. I believe they could make a field goal from this position if they don't get the 1st down.
I formation, Davis, the up back this time. The give is the Great House, and he'll churn ahead for said 1st down as we hit right about a minute to play here in this 1st quarter. And again, just methodical. This is what they do. 13, 14, 15 plays drives that end in scores. And whether it's 3 or 6 or 7 or whatever it ends up being, this is what Chaska has made their existence on since they split from Chanhassen a few years back.
And you saw in that last play, Barrett Boardman just blew up through the line there. He was in the wrong gap where they were running, but
he's going to make a big play here pretty soon. Handoff up the middle, Great House, and just some power running. Little late shenanigans there, rolling along the far side, and that was including one of the Raiders, and I think that was Keller that was in there trying to make a play. It was the junior linebacker. 2nd down, 3 yards to go. Could be the final play, might not even be as the clock is running. They're going to hold off, I think, and go down on the other end. I don't think they're going to even, they're not going to even take another play here, folks. Coaches are calling Chaska off the field. That's a quick 1st quarter of play. And the Raiders get 2 drives. Chaska trying to move on their 2nd inside the red zone. As a score, Chaska 7, Hastings nothing here at the end of the 1st quarter. We'll be back with more in just a moment on Hastings Community Television.
That's the end of the 1st quarter with the score.
He gets the pin.
What a move, what a goal! Oh, what a shot, scores! The Raiders, can they get the lift? Yes, they do.
Just snipes one.
Oh my God! And reaching up and making the play. It's moving. It's over.
Looking to throw, and she's going to get the first down.
One, touchdown Raiders!
Run it as we welcome you all back to Todd Field, down to the 10-yard line, the big QB. He will move the chains. That's a first down with 11:54 to go here, the first play of the second quarter. We're in the first half, and now the sunshine is back. Funny thing, though, Owen just mentioned, it's back just in time to be in the Raiders' faces. You're not kidding.
Yeah, they're going to have to overcome this. Luckily, I don't think they're going to be passing the ball, so it might not hurt you as much as in that situation.
This time they'll give it off in the backfield. A great tackle up the far right side after a gain of 5. Great house there, but a great tackle by Beisel. And again, that textbook wrestling style of tackling where you're not going anywhere.
And this is just such a slow, methodical offense here for Chaska. You know, it's reminiscent of the Gophers' offense. You know, where they just run the ball 10, 15 times, take up a whole quarter running the ball. I mean, they have a distinct brand of football. It might not be the most exciting, but boy, is it effective when you get downhill.
This one is handed off. Great house. He's bottled up right around the 5. Great play there by Hastings. Stepping in and making the stop there. Is that 62 or is that 82? Because we don't have a 62 on our roster here tonight. And we don't have an 82 for that matter. So that's interesting. We'll find that out from Dick Craig coming up here at halftime.
Mystery player out there.
We have a mystery. Might have been a jersey snafu before the game. We'll figure it out here in a moment. Third down and goal from the 3. Here's Welter, man in motion. He wants to run up the middle. He's not going to get there. He's down to about the half-yard line. This is going to be 4th down and goal, and I mean inches. So here's the deal. If the Raiders can stop them, Chaska might be content with the fact that the Raiders got to go 99 yards. As we take a peek here at the Raiders stacking that lineup and the 6'7" quarterback. And here comes Welter again. This is going to be right over the top. This is going to be a quarterback sneak right up the middle. Raiders got to find a way. Knocking on the door, Chaska up 7-0, and there's Welter, and the big fella just worms his way into the end zone.
I was going to say, you got to watch out for 77, Reggie Derrick, 6'5", 345-pound left guard. You can see that's exactly who he follows right there. They got some gigantic offensive linemen on this team, and boy, that's so beneficial in the goal line situations.
We call that over at Pataxon Prescott a side of beef. Extra point attempt coming up. The young freshman kicker, Lalamin, back in. Right footer again waits. Number 38, right to left. And he kicks it end over end through the uprights. And that makes it 14-0. Chaska with the lead.
Extra point by number 38.
So the Raiders going to have to start doing a little bit of math here as we watch again the sneak across that left guard. Perfect play there. But you got to score here pretty soon because Chaska deferred early. They found a way to get the football back, turn it into their own score. They get the ball to start the second half. There's already only 9:38 to go in the half. So Hastings has to have some semblance of a little bit of early urgency here. I hate to say it like that, but with a team, like you've said, that plays that boring brand of football, a 14-point lead could be a death nail to a team that can't get back in the game. It's very important right now.
Well, here's the thing, Tuck, too. You're totally correct with that, but they also need the composure to know that they're probably not going to be leading at halftime. This might be a rest of the game type of thing because they are going to have long drives.
Yep.
It's going to be frustrating. You have to stay within yourself as well, in addition to knowing possessions are going to be limited in this game.
So turnovers tonight, so important, folks. Here's a short kick. Up man will take it. And this one will be brought up the left side, and there's a flag that comes in as well as the Raiders trying to horse themselves to the 39-yard line. I'm wondering who, just where they threw it in. It looks like it's going to be against the Raiders. Grant Birkin, now, you want to kick it short, fine, but Grant Birkin took him back 75 to the house last week, and I don't think my voice has left the ceilings at my house because alongside Bubs, we're going absolutely bonkers watching Birkin bring that back. He's a special player, and he can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you absolutely do not want to be kicking it to that guy right there. He's basically a kick returner as an up back.
And he's got that length. He's got, the wherewithal defensively where it's a face mask. Do you see a face mask or a hole? Either way, it's going to move the Raiders back quite a bit. It is holding. Good. I looked like a face mask at first, but it was holding. It'll be at the 25. Raiders will have 75 to pay dirt. Now, if you're Hastings, like you said, this is going to be a game-long battle probably. It's not like you got to march down in 2 minutes. You put together one of those drives you've been known for all year. A couple of those drives last week against Jefferson, double-digit plays. Here is Birkin. They tried to use him there, and he'll get thrown ahead. The helmet comes off. Might have gained a half a yard if he's lucky. Raiders kind of trying a little bit of everything here early on.
Well, and to go along with what you've been saying, I mean, it's so true. I mean, there's no 14-point play. You're not getting back in one play, 2 plays, probably, 10 or 20 plays. I mean, this is going to be a game-long battle against a team that plays this sort of style. But it is not going to be beneficial to get behind the sticks like you are right here.
8:53 to go. Clock runs. Second quarter, first half. Raiders down 14-0. Handoff Shady trying to get outside. Back to the 25. Flag on the play as well. One of the Raiders, though, were picking himself up off the ground. I'm curious to see if this is against the Raiders or not because, like I said, it looked like the Raider was the one picking himself up off the turf. This might be some sort of a defensive holding call. Now he's motioning over to the Chaska coach. Oh no. Now Raiders didn't need another one of those. Raiders have been fairly disciplined throughout the year. Not as much tonight.
That's why I'm saying the composure is so important when you're down in a situation like this as well. And now, having a tough time getting Shattuck going downfield, now you might be forced into some pass situations right here.
Raiders, though, can pass. We know that. One split out wide to the left. That's Foss. Handoff goes to Shady. Across the 20, back to about the 23. And now we got third and exceptionally long. Call it not 12 or so. Not a good spot for Hastings to be in, especially noting there's 7:22 to go in a first half where at the end of the half, Chaska's going to get the ball to start the second half, and we do not need the Hawks scoring any more points until the Raiders find a way to get on the board themselves and make this a game again.
And it's tough, too, with Strain not out on the field. Obviously, Foss is a great receiver, and I'm sure they have great, 3 and 4 wide receivers, but Foss is the only one that they've really been able to connect to through the first 2 games and some change.
Marlowe Strain, of course, injured in the opening game. One of the first plays offensively for the Raiders is this incomplete pass. Will set up fourth down in a punting situation for Hastings deep inside their own zone now with 6:50 to go here in the first half, and it just looked like kind of a panic throw there. He knew that he wasn't going to get out of the grasp of the oncoming tackler, tried to make something positive happen, and in a third and long situation, a lot of times that's not going to be successful.
And I like Birkin and I like his yak ability, but in a situation like that where he needs 10 or 12 with 3 defenders closing in on him, not a good formula.
And such sure tacklers. There's a great punt by Arnis. Back to the 35 of Chaska to the 40. Right side 45. Bumped backwards. Was that Beisel? It had to have been the way he tackled him, speared him. Yeah, the Brock Lesnar spear from Blake Beisel, and I'm not shocked one bit. Just shot in there like a bullet. What a punt by Arnis. That was a thunder punt. Brought him all the way back. And look, he almost slipped. If he would have fell down there, he would have been down at the 35-yard line.
You needed that. You needed anything to go your way, even though you don't want to be punting the ball.
Right.
You needed something to go your way. Now, Tuck, I don't want to scare you here,
Yeah.
but you really got to make sure this doesn't turn into a 28-0 ball game, because that's kind of where it's leading if they score here and they get the ball in the third quarter. You need something defensively here. Anything, a strip sack, an interception.
It could unravel very fast. And right here, a carry for Welter, and he just tries to bully his way to the 50-yard line. He will be just short of that, maybe the 48. He's trying to hone himself a couple extra yards with a little roll in that 6-7 frame, getting off the turf. He's kind of reaching out. Hey, I got him right here. But he still gets 5, and it's second down, a long 5, short 6 here with 6:08 to play first half.
Well, this is what the Raiders did so well through the first 2 games, not having any negative plays, and that's, you're kind of seeing Chaska do the same thing. They're not getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
It looked like somebody moved early on the Chaska side. I want to see the near side offensive line here, guys. That or he got off the ball that well, but it looked like the near side as we look at the field. That offensive lineman here looked to get off the ball a little fast, but they got away with one and only gained 1. So great scenario here for Hastings now. Third down 5. Hasn't been many 3rd and 5. A lot of it's been 3rd and short, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Let's make a play. 5:27 to go. Clock running. First half, second quarter here at Town Field on a Friday night. Week 3 of the Minnesota football season. Here's a pitch out right side from one of the receivers. He'll get a first down too. Pitched out. And again, a fellow that hasn't touched the ball all game, Luke Razor, a sophomore wide receiver, makes the play. And boy, some of these young kids are making huge plays as you look at Razor find his way to the right side.
And it seems like the Raiders defenders were waiting for him to come to them as opposed to stepping in and trying to meet him short of the line to gain there. And that's what happens. You get a full head of steam and you take a defender with you. First down, Chaska.
The one thing you can get kind of suckered into is going against a running team, as we'll talk here now, is that pass right there, right side, is a sneaky post that could come out of nowhere. And is this going to be a roughing the passer? I sure hope not. Well, I don't know, because right now Welter kind of hung his head. He might have had a hold to help him get that ball out of there.
Well, speaking of penalties, Tuck, I wanted to mention this. Both teams, as it's a holding against Chaska, both teams are getting very overzealous with the blocking, especially after the play, and I can just see this playing out. One of these teams, as we get a look at a beautiful pass, really, just a little off the mark. One of these teams is going to get hit with an unnecessary roughness for blocking a little too after, and boy, you just hope it's not the Hastings, considering you don't want to give this team a freebie the way they're moving.
Especially a lot of times the retaliator will be the one that will probably be seen most of the time. Here's the keeper. Oh, Welter finds a hole, and he gets through, and he is gone. 20-10, 5, the big man, a long touchdown of 52 yards. And the Raiders are on life support in the first half. Ouch.
Well, this is very quickly turning into the Matthew Welter show. That's 3 first-half rushing touchdowns. We'll get another look at it right here. And he's as slippery as Matt Foss was in the first quarter there. Just everybody's on the right, and a couple of players bang into each other there for Hastings, and then you got a 5'10" cornerback trying to take down a 6'7" quarterback, and this game is getting out of hand very quickly here for Hastings.
Snap spot, Lallemand puts it through again, and the freshman's 3 of 3. It's 21-0. Now, I was mentioning this earlier to you Raider fans out there. When you watched football in the suburban East, 8, 9, 10, 12 years ago, and we'd play Forest Lake. There was their quarterback who, his name was Zach Riedemann. He was 6 foot 6 inches tall as we're watching Welter just run to the house, but that's what Zach Riedemann would do. He was 6'6". He was a small forward on the basketball team. He was the first baseman on the baseball team. He was a guy that was tall, long, lanky, wasn't that fast, but boy, when he got going, he looked like a deer running, and right there, that's what we saw out of Welter. And man, if I'm having flashbacks, I'm sorry, folks, but that is an identical offensive setup to what we saw from Forest Lake for Coach Matt Cleary for so many years.
And now if you're Hastings, I would dare venture to say you need to score on this possession because there might be, in the second half, there might only be 4 possessions in the entirety of the second half. The Chaska's going to have no urgency to be running hurry up or anything like this. I mean, if you're the Raiders, you really need to show something on this drive here.
It's got to be 4:47. I mean, you cannot give Chaska the ball again. The kickoff taken by Carter Herman O'Brien, 20 to the 25, 26, 27 down. And again, you can almost sense the trepidation in my voice and almost fear of the future of what might happen here in the final 4:40 of this half. But not only that, the fear of a running clock in the second half. And the Raiders coming off of 2 spectacular city galvanizing victories. It'd be kind of a tough one to take tonight.
It would be a real kick in the pants if they were to get blown out here by Chaska when it's all said and done, given the start they've had to the season. I could not agree more.
I'm being told that our stream is cutting out huge, folks, as a handoff or pitch out left side, and Shady will get nothing. So any of you folks that are, any of the HCTV guys that are listening to me right now, we've been notified that we're kind of cutting in and out. So if there's any issues that we can fix, let's go ahead and do that. But just a heads up, little house cleaning on the fly. Second down, call it no gain. Back to the 27-yard line. 4:09 to play, first half, second quarter. Shady on the pitch, cuts back into the middle, gets across the 30, gets another yard, maybe 2 with the fall, gain about 5. 3rd and 5, maybe a short 6 when it's all said and done here.
And Chaska's just treating Shattuck like he's prime Adrian Peterson, where, you know, back in the day you might see him get stuffed a few times. You got to hope that Shattuck is like prime Peterson because eventually he would break a long touchdown. Boy, the Raiders really need that right here, even though things haven't been going his way too much here. If he can break off a long one here, that would go very far into mounting up some sort of response.
And the Raiders are going to have to stretch the field. You're going to have to hit a pass here soon. Look at how hard they're stacking the box here right now even. And the pitch out goes to Shattuck, and he tries to pick his way through left side. He's not going to get the foul very short.
Shattuck, the ball carrier.
Or very close, I should say. But I think he is short.
I think they gave him a very generous spot as well.
They're moving it. First down, Raiders, and a big one. Zach Shattuck willed himself to that first down. All right, and he's trying to get us fired up on the PA here, but this smaller crowd on what was a very rainy early portion of this game, now pretty dang nice for a Friday night in Hastings. Trying to get loud here. Handoff from Hansen to Shady. He'll gain a yard, and that's it.
And I love the Hastings Raiders, but that might have been a generous first down right there. You'll take it, of course.
Brings up 2nd and 8.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Raiders down 21-0 in the first half, second quarter, 2:38 to go. But the Raiders patient again, realizing you can't give Chaska the final possession of the half, knowing they have the ball to start the second half. And you get 1 or 2 here and make it 35, like you said, 35-0, something like that. It ain't going to be a fun second half for anybody. Back to pass. Hansen has a man, it's caught! First down, Raiders to the 40 of Chaska. Nice pass over the middle, connecting on a slant to Carter Lundstrom, the senior receiver, 6 foot 1 inches tall. Great pitcher on the baseball field, but right there makes a big first down catch, and that's what we needed, Owen. Stretch that field, make them back off, give Shady a little room. Nice pass, way to be composed, and a great job by Hansen to deliver that football.
You're starving in the desert. You just need a glass of water. You don't need a swimming pool. You just need anything to go your way. Whether it was giving Adricula even a carry, just to change it up, just to change up anything to see if you can get anything going. That's exactly what they needed.
Back to Shady. He runs behind Mosman, and he'll get another 3, maybe. Second down, but clock is running 2 here, and the Raiders have all 3 timeouts. Raiders, like we said, though, would be happy chewing up clock, but I am of the ilk right now where we're close enough to score. Let's score a touchdown here, guys. Second down and 7. Let's put a little pressure going into halftime on these Hawks. Single back, that's Shady. Fake the pitch, Hansen on the run, rolling to his strong side right, back across his body. It's caught by Lundstrom, first down. We're starting to see a little bit of cohesiveness between quarterback and receiver as Lundstrom has stepped into that Marlowe screen spot, and he's making a big impression here.
And that's a great throw, too, because it would have been really tempting to try to go for the deep ball there with Elliott Hagen, but he was kind of sneakily double covered. You love seeing that, and they're finding something that works. They're just, whatever it is, hey, Lundstrom, he's having a great couple of plays. Just keep feeding Lundstrom the ball. If it's not working with Shattuck, we'll throw it to Lundstrom until it works with Shattuck. We'll find any way we can do it. But before that, we'll talk quickly here about the Spool House. From prom to weddings, let us suit your formal wear needs. You can learn more information at thespoolhouse.com/sewing.html. You still got to bring in that jersey.
I got to bring in my jersey, and I also know this weekend, actually, I've talked to so many people this week. They're going to weddings, a big wedding weekend. So, if you got a wedding coming up and you need those alterations to that special dress, maybe the pants got less tight, and you might need a little fix there, we can do that too. So be sure for any of your spooling, threading needs. Check out the Spool House, locally owned and operated here in Hastings. 1:02 to go, first half. 21-0, Chaska over Hastings. Raiders threatening for the first time tonight. From the 20-yard line, Shattuck. He takes the handoff and will rumble for about what his average has been, 3 or so tonight. Well south of his average of around 10 yards per carry.
Now, the Raiders do have 2 timeouts. It doesn't look like they're going to use one here, but they really need to have a sense of urgency here. We got 15 seconds already off the play clock.
And the field goal game hasn't exactly been kind to Hastings, whether it's extra points or 3 for that matter.
Nor would it be particularly useful in a situation like this.
Right. Handoff, Shady bounces off a man. Boy, that initial little shove in the interior line of the Chaska defense made that play because Shady got a little bit of a bump, and that slowed him down enough for the rest of the Chaska D to get in there and eat him up. So you got to credit gang team tackling right there. 23 seconds left here, and without the field goal game being big, like you said, 21-0 anyway. Probably want to put one in the end zone anyhow to really make this thing interesting in the second half. This is an important little chat here for our squad.
No, that's totally correct. And now you're in an interesting situation where you're probably not going to be thinking about running the ball with Shattuck. But luckily on this drive, it has been pretty hot with Carter Lundstrom. So it is third down. You don't necessarily have to target the end zone here, but you might have 2 cracks at the end zone. Maybe you try to pick up a first down. Can use the entirety of the field here, but yeah, like you're saying, I mean, getting the goose egg off the board is going to be important. But if you score a field goal and they come back in the second half and get a touchdown, that's a 4-point swing, anyways.
Hansen rolls out right side on the run, throws it back across his body again, and that's Foss. And darn near had it near the 5. 16 seconds left. Now third down and 5. Let's take a peek again. And that's kind of a dangerous throw, and we've seen it a few times. I know it's connected. You can't keep going back to the well for that in that spot, knowing that thing could get picked and brought to the house.
Vikings fans know very well that's a dangerous throw. That cost us the Super Bowl.
I see the Saints black and gold every time now, and he rolls out. And again, now it's fourth down. So you really got to find a way here to either get the first down, get out of bounds. Let's see what they can do. Hansen under center. Stack up wings off the right, 2 to be exact. And Hansen passes. It's caught by Birkin. He has the first down. And now they're going to call their final timeout and try to put one in the end zone here. But now, as we take a peek and great camera work by the guys down on the field there, as Hansen puts it right in the hands of Birkin, and some sure hands at that. You can tell right now with, maybe a little cohesion with Lundstrom, of course, with Foss, how he can catch the ball too. You're starting to find a few more really sure-handed options that now you can be comfortable with. When you think about, setting yourself on one read or one read only and not looking at your other keys or reads, now you're going to feel like, well, right away I can look at one of the two. It doesn't have to be that guy right away. And to broaden that out, I think that's going to make Hansen's job as a quarterback a lot easier the more he gets comfortable with his receivers throughout the season.
So true, and you'll have 2 cracks here, and they've been really good at completing rollout passes on slants.
Right.
So maybe you want to line up Birkin or somebody in the slant, going to the right side, going to his arm side, and try to connect something here. We'll see what they have cooked up.
9 seconds left. Raiders go with a single back set. That's Shady. Fake the pitch. Blitz comes, and Hansen is stuck. And that will do it for the first half. Raiders really needed one. They'll have some time to regroup at halftime and talk a bit about this first half and get things going. We saw the Raiders make some adjustments the first couple of games, and let's see here some scoring plays that come from Welter, the quarterback, that went of 2, 1, and 52 here in the first half. He's a big boy.
He's a big problem for Hastings. There's no two ways about it. And this was the Welter show for sure. Yeah, 3 first half rushing touchdowns. It's unfortunate that the Raiders ended the final drive like that, and like you said, road team's going to get the ball to start the second half. I mean, the Raiders, they're going to have to start getting defensive turnovers. I mean, it's going to have to be a full team effort here. It's going to have to be something special teams going your way. You're going to have to get the offense humming, and you're going to have to probably get some turnovers as well if you want to crawl back into this one.
At halftime, the Raiders trailing by a score of 21-0, but some good news for you that we can tell you is coming up at halftime. Aside from some messages from our friends around the area, we're also going to have the little bit of a recap that came from the Hastings-Bloomington-Jefferson game, the school record that was set by Zach Shattuck, and much more. You'll probably see the Birkin kickoff return touchdown. That'll be a lot of fun, but thanks to our friends up at HCTV for putting that together, and then of course Hunter cutting everything up throughout the week to let you guys have some fun here at halftime. With the score, Chaska 21, Hastings nothing. Back with more from Todd Field coming up here in the second half on Hastings Community Television.
He gets the pin.
What a move, what a goal! Oh, what a shot, scores! The Raiders, can they get the lift? Yes, they do.
Just snipes one.
Oh my God! And reaching up and making the play. It's moving. It is over.
Looking to throw, and she's going to get the first down.
Gone! Touchdown, Raiders!
But here is the difference for the class of 1990.
We went from Mile High Eagles to Alan Peck.
I know you're all excited about Y2K. You could lose power or party like it's 1999.
Hastings High School has been graduating seniors since the first commencement in 1887. Congratulations, class of 2023. Go Raiders!
Funding for community TV is in rapid decline, and HCTV will not survive without your help. Let your local representatives know that you support Community TV. To learn more, visit savecommunitytv.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to McNamara Stadium at Todd Field. Halftime with the pretty sunset in the background to our west and southwest. As take a peek at the coaches chatting, the officials getting ready as we look back at all of the fun that was had 1 week ago. And look at Shady run as he takes off here right side all the way to the house for a touchdown, getting the Raiders going early. And you're going to tell me that that didn't set the tone for the rest of the night? Well, it did, because the Raider defense also, after giving up an early score to Jefferson, they got back in gear again. And it was the Shady show as he ran for a school record as he goes up over 370 yards on the night, including this run here, splitting the guard and tackle to get in from short yardage. And then right here, here's Hansen connecting on a great pass to Matt Foss up the right side. Matty did the rest of it as he scored for the Raiders to put the game really out of reach in the first quarter alone. Later on, the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars were to get on the board before halftime. Yeah, shushes the crowd a little bit, but they weren't to be quiet very long, because guess who has the football again? Shady Shattuck off and running, and he takes this one down for a touchdown as well. He had 5 total in the game, and now here's another big run up right side where he really liked that side all night. And here he breaks in to daylight and then pay dirt to close things as Shady again up over 370 yards in the game. Raider defense late in the game did give one up, but a lot of the starters were out at that point. But the Raiders, man, a great win nonetheless as they wrap things up against Bloomington Jefferson on the road. With kickoff here, and there's Birkin doing his duty as we talked about his 75-yard return. And that gets us here to the second half of this game, with the ball in the air. 21-0 Hawks. And they have the football. 20, 25 to about the 30, and that's where the returner will be taken down.
And Chuck, I mean, that was a beautiful recap by everybody involved. I'm almost glad that was a road game that you didn't cover, because I think you'd be questionable for the remainder of the season. Your voice box. I'd have to take over. The backup would have to come in third quarter.
Yeah.
You would have lost your top if you were covering that game.
It was pretty fun, like I said, even at home, where you can kind of sit and hang out with the boy and have a great Friday night. And that first full week of school for the kids was just tremendous. 11:54 to go, just underway in the third quarter. Handoff's going to go nowhere. And the Raider defense coming up and flexing early as Barrett Boardman, we've talked about him now. This is his third year on varsity, making a big play again, and we're going to need a lot more out of 3-3 and the rest of the boys here in the middle.
Well, you never can question the Raiders' heart, whether you're up in the Bloomington game or you're down here in the Chaska game. I do trust that they'll have a consistent effort throughout this one. So they're still in this game.
Big quarterback Welter under center, right hash, far side of the field. As you look at the TV, pitch out comes near side, and across the 40. It's going to be a hold. That's going to come back anyway. So yeah, it would have been probably a first down, but that's not going to matter, as this should be coming back. And that time we saw Greathouse, with the help of the hold, show a little breakaway speed. We didn't see too much of it there in the first half, as we'll take a peek and see if maybe we can find where this infraction took place in the backfield.
Yeah, it looks like 81 right there.
And got a hold of the back of the jersey of Carter Herman O'Brien.
It's amazing how well you can run when there's a hold sometimes.
Yep. And a spot foul too, so that'll move them back behind the initial line of scrimmage.
And this is what we were talking about in the first half. You just got to put these guys behind the chains because they've tried a couple of long passes, but they're not gashing you for 30 yards, 20 yards. It really is a consistent kind of faucet drip of an attack.
And as soon as you say that, Chaska comes out with 4 receivers, 2 to each side. All of a sudden goes spread, single setback. And that's going to be kept by Welter, and he's not going to get much. He doesn't even make it back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd and extremely long for the first time tonight for Chaska. And this is exactly the way the Raider defense wanted to come out to start the half.
A great tackle by Boardman, too. I mean, Boardman's a big guy, but this quarterback, makes him look diminutive. But he gets up under the hood and makes sure that he's got a hold of his legs. He's not going anywhere. Sets up the gang tackle for a play of 0.
3rd and very long, call it 14, 10-12 to go. 3rd quarter, plenty of time for the Raiders. Let's make a big play here and force a 4th down. Out of the shotgun tonight, Welter. Haven't said that much. Back to pass. He's looking, surveying the situation. He'll take a throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. Raiders had a man in there. That was number 14, Landon Johnson, among a couple of other fellas. But a great job by the Raiders to get pressure eventually and force a bad pass here. As, out of the shotgun, a little more uncomfortable here. And that's what the Raiders need to continue to do. Put them behind the chains, make them uncomfortable. Let's get her going in the second half.
And that was a tight spiral. That really was a good pass. Maybe not the best route and catch. Great defense by Hastings, but I mean, this guy can pass the ball as well as rush the ball. But now this is really where the game starts here for Hastings.
Shady back, high punt. Shady leave it. Let it be right there at the 45. Takes a hop, 45 and a 44 and a half, we'll say. All right, perfect. Short field for the Raiders in their first offensive drive of the second half as Hastings down 21-0. Now you have a legitimate opportunity to make some noise here, Mailman.
It's now or never. And this is why the turnovers are important. There might not be 3 Hastings offensive possessions for the remainder of the game unless you create them.
You're right.
But even that notwithstanding, you got to score here, and really you kind of have to score with haste as well.
Right. Chaska eats that clock up offensively so efficiently. Raiders work left hash. Handoff to Shady. Looked like he almost had the line of scrimmage and then thrown backwards. And Shattuck just finding no daylight today. And, you have to credit this Chaska defensive attack up front. And again, great push. You just see 3 guys all there waiting for a would-be all-state running back.
We could probably blow that play dead a little sooner. We don't have to carry him in the air, but you're right. I mean, there is the roads are closed. I mean, there's no lane for this kid to run through.
Great defensive effort here in this game for Chaska as the Raiders send a man in motion. They'll pitch out, try to set up a blocker in front of Zach Shattuck, and he won't get much. Couple, maybe.
I mean, what's his long tonight? I mean, 5-6 yards? I mean,
nothing over 10. I can tell you that right now for surely. Nothing over 10.
And it's not so much on Shattuck or the Raiders, but this is a big defense. I mean, you can just look down the line right here. Look at the Raiders. Look at Chaska. Those are big players right there. Yeah, perfect camera work right there. Those are big players. They're smart players too, and they're just plugging every single hole. There is no lane to run through. It's a frustrating team to play.
Raiders under center. Back to pass. Hansen over the middle, incomplete. Trying for Matt Foss, 4th down. Well, that's a bummer. Raiders going for one of their sure-handed leaders, and right there, it'll force a punt. And now, Raiders a minute 30 drive. That won't get the job done here tonight.
And now Chaska is going to take over the ball, and you better believe they're going to try to go on a 10-minute drive here. I mean, they have no urgency. They're comfortably in the lead here. It's like we've said, it might not be the most exciting play style, but boy, is it effective, and it's frustrating too when you're on the receiving end.
Arnis to punt, and another good one. 20. Takes a hop and a roll. 15, 14, 13, 12 out of bounds. Great punt by Ashton Arnis. And he has been a weapon for the Raiders. And like we said earlier, it's not like we want our weapon to be our punter, but when he's doing a great job, you got to acknowledge it right there. Another terrific punt by Arnis, who's not a big fella, but boy, he has good technique, good form, and another great punt.
He's got a big leg, and more importantly, too, when that ball lands, it keeps rolling away from Hastings. You know, sometimes you get that air time, but if you don't get that dribble time as well, you know, that you 10, 15, 20 extra yards, depending on how it bounces. I know the field's wet, so that's probably hurting that a little bit, but he's a good punter.
We will watch here from the 10, because this will be actually the 12, the longest drive if they can complete it for Chaska. We got 8:10 to go. We'll see how much of the clock they use, as this will be handed off in the backfield. Off right side, Greyhouse will get just short of the first down. Up, they're going to move them. 10-yard gain. First down, move the chains.
Well, at least they've been consistent. They've been consistently mildly generous with the spots, but all you really care is that if it's equally applied.
Right. See if that will continue here. If maybe we can get them behind the line of scrimmage. That'd be a great spot to set the ball on second down. We'll see what the Raider defense can do here. Handoff. Greyhouse again, steps across the line, falls ahead, gains another 7. So that running game starting to really take we got a big injury here, and a big fella nonetheless down, and that's the aforementioned number 77, Reggie Derrick, 6'5", 345 junior, and he is down and in pain here. We're going to take a look at one of our sponsors while we have a minute too here for tonight's game, and recognize our wonderful community mailman. Where are we eating after the game?
Oh, well, we're going to Culver's. HCTV Sports is sponsored by Culver's of Hastings. From savory butterburgers to sweet scoops of frozen custard, we've got something handcrafted for everyone. You can visit us at our location next to Cub Foods in Hastings.
Butterburger is always good. Patty melt is my favorite. Take a look here and see maybe where the big fella took a shot there. And it looks like just a play between he and the Raiders' number 64 on the line there. And we don't have a 64 on our... What is going on here today? We got a couple of numbers that were changed on the roster, so I wish we could help you out, folks.
Unfortunately, that's the downside to what I was talking about earlier. You know, both teams, this means a lot to both teams, and you know, when they're really into blocking, they're really into winning the blocks, and sometimes you just get torqued like that a little bit. We'll take a look at the section 3-5A section here.
Pretty wild right now with the Raiders and St. Thomas towards the top. We've had many years where those two teams have been the top two. Apple Valley at 1-1 overall. Two Rivers, you know, they lost some big fellas, some good players on both sides of the football. They are 1-1 right now. In Burnsville, who again just continues to shrink in enrollment. And they've had some issues with numbers in many of their sports the last few years, and have co-opted a couple of different sports. Well, they're at 0-2, and that's something that, you know, back in the 90s, you know, they were always one of those powerhouses in Dakota County. But now a lot of that has gone to the Lakeville schools, of course. Eastview has become a very big team to deal with, and look at that.
That is the craziest section I've ever seen.
No thank you, no way. I mean, come on. That's what the Chaska, Mankato East, and West. They throw Waconia in there. I mean, that could be a state championship 5 right there.
Chanhassen, I believe they're number 1. Waconia is number 7. Mankato East is number 3 in 5A, not just the section. That is a murderer's row of a section.
Of course, we had a home with Chan a couple of years ago that didn't go very well at all. This not going well either. Handoff up the middle, first down and more. Greathouse again. 7:27 to go here, third quarter of play, and Greathouse finding enough room to get the first down. On second down, now 1st and 10 again, this time from the 38.
You know, one of the benefits to gang tackles that hopefully we can see is that when you're that second and third player in, I'd love to see them try to punch out the ball and maybe try to force a turnover here.
Seen that a lot in the NFL already this season as Welter takes off running in front of the Raider bench. Very close to another first down. And the big 6'7" quarterback will get 9, and he's just short of the first down as we take a peek again and really just surveys the situation. Drawn up run and finds enough room to get very close to a first down and really extends the playbook for Chaska, being second and very short. Maybe this is where you try to sneak in a pass here. Only, 25 yards passing really throughout the year, as they have predominantly ran the football, and they do there for another first down as Greathouse continues to chew up yards and clock. And this is exactly what Chaska wants to do to teams. You get the lead in the second half and then try to lull you to sleep and just take the clock away from you. And you're seeing that every play, running the play clock down as far as he can, going at it. And you're seeing Chaska, again, proving to be a top 10 team.
They are not an air raid team. They are not trying to put up 70 points in a game. They have a very distinct flavor of football.
And they go here. Up the middle, Greathouse slips over the 40-yard line, gain of 6.
Greathouse, the ball carrier.
So if he had not slipped, he might have been sitting in Walgreens right now.
It looks like Greathouse might have twisted up something on the fall down.
Somebody that Chaska needs to lose at all. We've already lost one of their big beef eaters on the line, and now you're going to lose your A-back.
You know, you wanna win this game. I think if you're Chaska, you feel like this is pretty in control, but you don't want it to be a Pyrrhic victory where you know you lose 4 of your starters. You got to wonder if with these 2 injuries, maybe they start to turn and think maybe we got to put our backups in here to get them some experience and save the health.
He's got to come out for a play. Yeah, he's got to come out at least one play. He's trying to go back to the huddle. Greathouse looks like he's fine. He'll sit out at least one play and then come back in the game. So here comes quarterback Matthew Welter, 3 rushing touchdowns. All of the scores tonight have been via the QB on the ground, 2 short ones and then a 52-yard blast. He has his Hawks under center, second and 3. 21-0 Hawks lead, right to left under TV screen, handoff up the middle, and got about 2 maybe on that play. The second running back is Belmont, wearing the number 21. 5:37 to go. Again, third quarter, and Chaska very content here. Slowing the game down. Slow to the line, Welter. Third down, call it 3. Ball spotted at the Raider 39-yard line. Man in motion to the backfield. Hand off to the fullback. Nope, keeping it is Welter, and he's gone. 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Chaska leads 27-0. That one, a 39-yard run. And that could be all that is wrote.
And it's just so typical of Chaska getting 4 rushing touchdowns by their quarterbacks. It's just the epitome of if it's not broke, don't fix it. Everything Chaska does, it's not broke, so they don't fix it. They don't need to pass down the field. They try a little bit, but I mean, you just let this guy run the ball. You let Greathouse touch the ball, but this guy's your finisher.
That one kicked with some force through by Lalaman, 28-0. I've caught myself almost twice calling Lalaman Lululemon. So that's where I'm at tonight on a Friday as a Raider fan.
Potential sponsorship right there.
I think you're right.
But just look at he's sneaky fast, he's sneaky powerful. Hit him with that opposite hand stiff arm right there. I mean, it's impressive. It is impressive to watch what this guy's doing.
It's impressive, yes, but heartbreaking for Raider fans. I can tell you that much. After the first 2 weeks went so well, whether it be an exciting come-from-behind victory or a thrashing of a road rival.
There's going to have to be a deep soul-searching after this game to try to figure out how the rest of the season goes, because we know you can play really good football.
Right.
We know you can battle through adversity. We saw that in the New Prague game. We know you can blow somebody out. We saw that in the Jefferson game. But there's levels to this, and you're finding out that there's a different level if you want to have success for the rest, because you're playing great teams for the rest of the way out too. Mankato East and St. Thomas, so maybe you can try to turn this into a silver lining where there's a lot to be learned here, and you just hope that can be applied later in the season.
This game will, I hate to say help Hastings, but to help show them that you have some things to work on before you play another state caliber team like Mankato East, as this one will be returned by Adricula, 20. Left side spins, 25, and that's where it'll end. The Raiders will start 1st and 10 left hash at 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter at Todd Field. And the score is 28-0, Chaska.
On the return for the Raiders.
A lot of things that the Raiders just can't control. And sometimes you just can't control a great defensive ball club that is in the top 10 in the state of Minnesota.
20-yard return. The Raiders will begin 1st and 10 at their own 25.
Matt Foss, a split out wide to the left for Hastings. 2 wing backs set up off the right. Set back. Single in the back. Shady. We'll throw the screen. Right side. Nice set up there. 30. 35. First down. Close to it anyway. Shady on the screen pass. And I don't see too many screens out of Hastings, but that might be a way to open things up and extend it while still keeping Shady involved.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Maybe you should see it a little more, especially when you're just getting smothered. It's hard to run to the edge, but if you can get a screen like that, I mean, you just got to get the ball in this guy's hands. And like you said, sometimes if you're going up against a great defense, there's things you can't control, but I like that they're still trying to get creative with this offense.
If you get the secondary to bite on a fake screen, right? You might get a corner. Shady gets a couple where you get one of the safeties maybe overcommitting towards the front, thinking that screen is coming. They overcommit, then leaving somebody open deep on the backside for Hansen to hit. So that might have just put a little something extra in the brains as we take a peek at the last play once again for the Raiders as we set up 2nd down in about 6.
No question, and I have no idea if they've ever practiced this, but with all the attention with Shattuck, I mean, maybe you try a halfback pass, you get the screen out to Shattuck, everybody comes in, and kind of like the same principle you were saying.
Shady takes the handoff, gets outside, holds coming up too. That's going to go back, and Raiders getting a handful of a Chaska player, and that's going to send Hastings backwards.
That was a dangerous throw of a penalty flag right there. It reminds me of Orlando Brown Sr.
That was crazy.
They were throwing that.
Yep.
I don't think – I understand you want to get the flag as close to where the infraction was, but I don't think we have to get that close. I think you could drop a flag.
Orlando Brown back in the early 2000s was hit in the eye with a flag, and it did cost him part of his vision in the eye where he got hit, and it ended up being a very large legal kerfuffle towards the end of his career. Now his son, I believe, is playing, I'm trying to think where he plays or what he plays.
Yeah, he's kind of moved around a little bit.
Yep. 2 receivers, a wing back set up, 2, screen to Shattuck. Nice block by Birkin will free him up for a couple yards, but we're looking at 3rd and super long here. With 4:13 to go, 3rd quarter. And you know that Welter is sitting on the sidelines, licking his chops, looking to equal Shady's 5 touchdowns 1 week ago.
You know for sure in the lead up to this game, all that they heard about, all the tape they studied was about Shattuck and his 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I would have to believe that he would love nothing more than to get 5 rushing touchdowns on the road here at McNamara.
And again, just kind of an anomaly. A 6'7" QB, and he can run a little bit, enough to be extremely dangerous. This time Shattuck breaks one across the 35, like spears himself ahead for another couple of yards. But now you're looking at 4th and very long, so the Raiders again will come out in punt formation down 28 as we take a look again. And, you know, nice burst, nice vision, but you can see Shady trying to shoulder the whole load himself, and he needs a little bit of help if he's going to make some impact plays. Arnis at the 25. Ball at the 38. Snap good. Arnis, left-footed boot, and another spiral. This one with some velocity, and that's going to bring it inside the 10, picked up at the 8-yard line. Across the 10 to the 15, down at the 18-yard line. The Chaska Hawks will start right there. First down and 10, 2:44 to go here. If Chaska scores and adds any type of extra point, it will be running clock in the fourth quarter.
I didn't want to say it, but we all know it's true. That was a pretty good return there for Chaska, all things considered. That was yet another monster punt by Arnis.
Now, if we could give a player of the game so far for Hastings, number 1 would definitely be that. Here's the big fella under center. Matthew Welter, number 9. Hands off on the trap, up the middle, and one man to get him. Otherwise, that was a touchdown, and a long one at that. Raiders look like Thompson got his hand in there towards the end of it. We'll take a peek at the replay and see how this thing rounded out on a little fullback trap. Haven't seen too much of that stuff tonight either.
Yeah, whoever the safety or the corner was on that far side just saved, about an 80-yard touchdown run right there. He was thinking. Once he saw the Red Sea split there, he was thinking end zone all the way.
2:09, clock runs. Third quarter, 28-0 Hawks on the road here at Todd Field in Hastings. Handoff goes out right side. Again, another gain of 4, maybe 5, pending the spot. With 2 minutes to go. Smith carrying the football again on that fullback trap type play. Not as much option now here. You saw a lot of option in the first half. Now it's been a lot of power and eye and some of that stuff too, that they seem very comfortable running here in the second half.
And I was going to credit Welter too. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's sneaky fast, but he's also really good at selling the play as well, and that's kind of led to some of the success they've had.
My guess at 6'7" is he also plays basketball. Chaska fans might have to correct me if I'm wrong and comment on our YouTube stream. But you'd think, like I said, all of Zach Riedemann with Forest Lake all those years, just maybe a multi-sport kid, but boy, he looks the part. I'll tell you that much. At 6'7" even. I'm just trying to think of quarterbacks in the NFL that were that tall, like a Mike Glennon maybe. I mean, but he wasn't very well known, if you will, in the 2000s. Pitch out right side goes to the wide receiver. They're going to throw him ahead for a first down though, as taking the run is 81, and that's Luke Racer. It's his second carry tonight, and unfortunately, as we look at the play here, they throw him ahead on the tackle, and it gives him a first down.
That's just the kind of night Chaska's been having. I think the only recent comparison to Minnesota football, I believe it's Chase Thompson. He was a 6'7" quarterback. He could kind of run a little bit for, I think, Alexandria, but he went to go play. He was a 4-star basketball recruit, and he went to go play. I believe he plays at Clemson now.
You Chaska fans also might have to help me and tell me if Spencer Tollickson was ever a football player, because I always found it crazy that there was a 6'9", 6'10" pitcher that played baseball, and that was Tollickson. He was fantastic for so many years pitching for Chaska, but of course went on to play basketball at the University of Minnesota. But I'm curious if Tollickson also played football. That would be something that would be quite interesting. But that will have to wait for another time. We break at the end of the third quarter. The Hawks leading the Raiders 28-0 after 3 quarters on HCTV.
The United Heroes League mainly uses sports as a bridge to help military families stay active and engaged in their communities. We have over 40 professional teams that partner with us for free tickets and camps. We provide access to free sporting equipment,
UHL has provided us with a lot of equipment and a lot of gear that is otherwise sometimes hard to attain.
It's really cool. I get all this free stuff, and it's because of my great dad, who is a veteran.
UHL has been a great supporter, not just for our family, but for all the military families.
We're excited to see what the future holds. We can't wait to see where it goes.
Back live on a Friday. If you're watching along on TV back home or on YouTube on Friday the 12th, we welcome you back.
Ball carrier, no gain on the play.
No gain. I like saying that. Third down. And the Raider defense makes a nice play there with 11:42 to go here. But like you and I were just mentioning off the air, man, a touchdown and an extra point here, that can move the clock and really put the Raiders out of it for good. Wing T. 2 receivers to each side. Under center. Oh, that looked like someone moved. I was going to say that just didn't look right. Penalty against Chaska will move them back to about the original line of scrimmage. So let's make a play here. I mean, we need something to get us jacked up about next week. You know, let's make a couple plays and at least make this thing look interesting here.
I mean, nobody wants to hear me say this, and it is sappy, but I mean, you really are playing for pride at this point.
Yeah,
you really are playing for next week. You know, you don't. You've lost this game. I'd be as surprised as I've ever been if they came back in this game. But you're still playing for pride. You're still playing to learn. You're still playing to get better. You know, you still have to go out there and put forth a respectable effort, which I think they'll do, obviously. But you know, it's true. You're probably not gonna win them all.
And over 20-some years between coaches Majeski and Strain over the years, and Saturday morning coaches shows at Perkins on the radio side of things that this team never quits, and it never have quit under either coach. It's just how it is. As a short run will bring up 4th down, and the Raiders get a little W here. That's a little slice of something nice, as now Hastings will force a punting situation. Great tackle, too, right around the line, wrapping them up. But again, even though wrapping them up, still gaining a couple yards. I mean, that's just how tough this Chaska team is.
I was just going to say that's why that penalty is so valuable, because if it was 3rd and 5, I mean, he might have dragged himself for a first down. But yeah, that's just how they play. But let's just see something here. Let's see a spark. Let's get the goose egg off the board. Let's do anything here. Let's play for next week.
You know, a guy who's back there can really make something happen. And Shattuck's going to take a line drive punt. 25 to the 30, ahead to the 34. Looked like helmet to helmet, maybe? I don't know. But the Raiders will start at the 35. Let's score a touchdown here.
This is an interesting punt return because there's 10 Chaska Hawks in the vicinity, and you're not going to see a single Raider. I mean, just doesn't even look. It looks like a game show or something. Where's the Raiders blockers?
Now you're going to need a block here, I'll tell you that much. The ball 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line, their own. We're under 10 minutes to play in regulation. Dare I say the game? Yes, I do.
Good shot there. The Chaska crowd coming out. It was well worth it.
Shotgun. Hansen. Ball is tipped at the line. Incomplete. But that's the first time Raiders have ran shotgun this evening. So maybe trying to open it up, spread it out, get the ball out maybe a little quicker with a little more time maybe.
Sometimes there's a novelty to running different offensive formations. We really saw that in the new Prague game where they on a single drive, they came out in like 5 different offensive formations.
It was, yep.
At the high school level, it's hard to be good at even one style of offense.
Playbooks are not easy, folks. Back to pass, Hansen, left side, overthrew it. Yeah, that just a little rushed. Hagen was close, but again, just too quick, too much happy feet in the pocket there. 3rd and 10. Not much clock has come off either.
They're so close to showing the pirate ship.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're so close.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
There it is back there, yeah. Our goal as a broadcast team is to either broadcast a game from in there or
have a slumber party in there.
Party and pizza. We'll let you know how that develops. 3rd and 10. Handoff, Shattuck. He gets 3 out of bounds, and 2 flags come in, and it looks like something against Hastings considering to where the flag came from. Oh boy, it's been one of those evenings. I think the Raiders tomorrow, Saturday, it's going to be about 90. How about a little team bonding session, go out to the beach? Get the boys together, bring the football out or the volleyball out, shake this thing off. Let's get back to doing what we've done the last 2 weeks. I know this isn't fun, but again, you're playing a top 10 team, fans. For those that are going, well, why is it 28-0? Well, you're playing a top 10 team. That was actually not against the Raiders. Are you kidding me? That was against Chaska. Well, all right then.
The Raiders certainly thought that was going to be against them.
Oh, they're declining it, and now the Raiders will have to punt. Okay, well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, you're going to have a short memory with this. I mean, you're on the road next week against Apple Valley. That's, to put it nicely,
in Rosemount, by the way.
In
Rosemount
as well.
At 7 o'clock.
That's probably a little step down in competition. So, the Raiders, they could be 3-1. You got to put this one past you.
You're exactly right. Short memory. Find a way to do some fun stuff here in the final 9:47. Oh, no. After some beauties tonight, Arnis shanks one. And that might not have even gotten back to the midfield stripe. Oh, boy.
You could just see that unfolding in real time. The point of the ball was, when he dropped it, was just all messed up. Luckily, it's not going to make too much of a difference in this game. It's not close enough to matter. He's had a tremendous 4 or 5 punts up until that, but sometimes that happens.
It just feels like it's been that type of night for our Raiders.
And I think they were a little generous on this spot as well.
The generosity has been nice for us because we kind of needed it, to be honest, but I don't think Chaska's needed any help this evening, leading 28-0. 4 rushing touchdowns by the quarterback, Welters. This one up the middle. Ooh, he almost lost that football. But still a gain of about 10, and that should be another first down, and the Raiders have an injured player. Oh, no. And
That's
it's Barrett
Boardman.
and he is grabbing his knee. That is not a cramp. That is not a cramp. Maybe this will be a good time to take a peek at one of our supporters here of Hastings Community Television. As again, we can't do it without you folks out there. And if you are a business, make sure you get back to us at HCTV. What's one of our favorite businesses in town, Mr. Mailman?
Well, outside of Culver's, it's the Spool House, who is a proud sponsor of HCTV Sports. From prom to weddings, let us suit your formal wear needs. More information is available at thespoolhouse.com/sewing.html.
Maybe I need a blue and gold corsage next week.
And speaking of Culver's, we're also supported by Culver's. A twofer right here.
Oh, boy.
We're supported by Culver's as well. That's where we'll be going after the game. Culver's of Hastings, from savory butterburgers to sweet scoops of frozen custard. We've got something handcrafted for everyone. You can visit us at our location next to Cub Foods in Hastings.
Not just the regular flavors, too, but they have a flavor of the day, folks. And, it incorporates, any kind of candy, yummies, extras that go in there. It's really cool. Let's take a look and see. Maybe we could find out where Boardman got pinched. Oh, he got just absolutely obliterated by a 300-pound lineman and got kind of rolled up upon, but it looked like he was grabbing above his knee, which never is a good sign.
Well, and we talk a lot about the 345-pound offensive lineman being and he is a big boy, but this is a college, this is a Division III, Division II sized offensive line. These are real big players, and if they roll up on you, it's, Boardman's 200 pounds, but yeah, sometimes when it's like that, it's not good.
Where are we? Oh, hi. Max has us. See, all blue and golded out tonight, like usual. You guys wouldn't think anything else of your favorite Raider voice,
I got the gold,
but I'm not Owen. I'm not Owen.
Yeah, that's true. Here, we'll switch. This makes a little more sense.
There we go. Now it's better. But just want to say hi to everybody back home. Hi, Dallas. Hopefully you're at home. I know my little buddy He's had a little bit of illness he's had to overcome this week, so he's at home tonight with Mama watching the Raiders. So I want to send a special hello to my little buddy back home. Can't wait to go fishing with you all weekend.
Special shout out to Captain Cadet and one of the other dogs. I'm blanking on the name, but they're watching the game too from Cottage Grove.
All right. It's doggy night in the Grove. Belmont will get a couple here. 9:23 to go. Clock will tick, 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 tick. And every single time the white and purple fellas get up off the pile, there's big Matthew Welter to give each of them a little 5. And hey, man, we're doing exactly what we wanted to on the road tonight. This Chaska team is a powerhouse, fans. And any team that they play the rest of the season, they're going to have their hands full. I don't care if it's one of the Mankato schools. I don't care if it's Waconia. I don't care who it is. They're going to have their hands full with Chaska, as it seems the last few years since they've become their own school, they have been. Wing team, man in motion to the backfield. Give the fullback trap wide open spaces up across the 15 to the 10, call it the 8-yard line. And it looks like they have their closer in the game now, is Smith. Another big carry, and now Smith's got to be close to 50 yards tonight as he gets a nice run there and a good tackle from behind as the Raiders had a guy there, and Landon Johnson.
Well, Tuck, how about this? Next week they're playing Mankato East, who we've mentioned. They're number 3. Then they're on the road at Mankato West. Then they come home to play Chanhassen, who's number 1. On the road at Waconia, who's number 7. And then they finish off against a familiar foe on the road against New Prague, who they're 0-2. But, I mean, we saw here, you know, they're a live dog as well.
They get those big running backs cooking. That could be a game that takes 14 minutes to play, and that's it. There's a sack for the Raiders. Beisel joined in the party there by an on-streaking Raider in number 11, Case and Asterby, so give them each a half a sack. And the Raiders' first sack tonight comes here in the fourth quarter. Great time for it. But now you look at second down and goal. And this team has had zero fear no matter what the down has been inside the red zone tonight.
And there's really been no opportunities for sacks either. I mean, they've been running the ball 80% of the time. When they pass the ball, they got great pass protection, and you know they're not taking 8 seconds to throw the ball either.
We have a new quarterback in the game, so that will do it for this evening. For Matthew Welter, who will finish with 4 rushing touchdowns and over 100 yards on the ground. The handoff here goes to Belmont again, the new quarterback. For Chaska is number 18. That's Joseph Scott. And get this, 6'1", 153. This kid's a freshman, folks. I'm telling you, these teams on the west side of the suburbs, they are not afraid to start these kids as freshmen. And even though it's a late in the game, to get a quarterback on a Friday night getting experience, this is so huge for those guys. Under center, wing T again. Single back, Belmont gets the carry. He'll go across the 15, throw him back across the 15. We'll see where the spot goes. Right on the 11 when everything's said and done.
So you're saying he's 6'1" as a freshman. I mean, there's plenty of time to become 6'7" as a senior.
You're not kidding, dude. There's no beating around that big bush. And the Raiders here tonight have seen Welter run just in touchdown yardage alone for 94 yards. I mean, that's just on his touchdowns. So Welter, a game for him to remember, no doubt, on the road. He will enjoy the rest of this one from a cozy spot next to his coach on the sideline. 6 minutes to go. Smith in the backfield gets joined by Belmont. Smith will be the one to take it, and he'll get about a yard, maybe 2, and the Raiders will take the football back on downs. And Chaska being very sportsman-esque, saying there's no reason to rub it in and start that clock running. Hey, Raiders, we're going to give you another drive with the clock of stoppage time, and that's kind of nice. Raiders get a chance to, come on, do a little something here offensively, and it looks like they, too, are going to, well, they're not going to switch up too much here. Birkin's out there. Yeah, we got pretty much everybody out there, so let's see if Shady can... Maybe this is where Shady breaks that big one we were talking about.
It would be cathartic to see it.
Well, if he gets 90 here, he's got 100 yards tonight. There he goes, breaking one tackle, 15, 16, 17. Nice little run on first down for Shady. Gained about 6.
Shady Shattuck, the ball carrier.
Shady's such a fun kid. I watched his interview this past week with Randy Shaver on the Strib Preps deal, and he's such a well-spoken young man. I mean, playing as a sophomore last year, he grew on the fly, and we watched him grow, went over 1,000 yards, but now realizing he's a leader and, like I said, so well-spoken and smart young man, and just so excited to see not only the rest of this year, but next year and beyond what he will do as he breaks through, and he finds room! 40, midfield, bombed by Shady Shattuck, and there it is. He goes 83 to the house, and guess what? His 3rd straight 100-yard game this year, and he broke the Big Daddy. Atta baby, Shady. Way to put the team on your back, find the seam, and off he went. With 5:01 to go, Shady to the house.
It's good to see that the Raiders are still trying. The offense is showing signs of life. A little too late, but you're playing for next week. You're playing for the rest of the season, and yeah, man, it feels good to see him because he's been trying real hard on some of these carries, but there's just nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go except backwards on some of these plays. So to see that here.
Weber, kick. Yes! 28-7. And a hat tip to Chaska, too, because like we said, fans, they could have found a way to run that clock out on the Raiders, and instead, Shady, 83. Look at him just plow through there. And as soon as he pinballed off 3 would-be tacklers, it was off to Walgreens. And Shady finds the soccer goals and the sign of the cross to thank the man above with 5:01 to go.
You are not going to arm tackle him. I don't care how many arms you have. I don't care if you have 4 arms. There's the beautiful gridiron, the pirate ship there. That's where me and Shady Shattuck are going to be celebrating later for that touchdown. But yeah, you could have 8 arms. You're not taking him down. You have to bring him down through the ground. That's what I think people appreciate about him the most, outside of obviously the greatness, is every single play is not over until he is firmly on the ground. And even down 4 scores, you still see that.
He's so fun to watch. And when he gets into open space and he turns on that jetpack, oh my.
Selfishly, I'm really hoping the Gophers end up taking a look at this guy.
I really would like to see that myself. I know there are some smaller D1 schools that have even reached out to me, yes, to your TV guy, asking about statistics and asking about himself. And, when you start getting calls as the TV broadcaster guy, and you know that this guy's special, and there are people that are going to look at him. Usually your junior year is that big year when it comes to recruiting to make a decision, perhaps. I know kids love to get that decision out of the way. Timeout, by the way, on the field, folks, before the kick. But to just find a way to continue everything the way that we've been doing things, and it's an important thing, I think, for this whole Raider program and really everybody else that comes to watch these kids every week.
Yeah, you really get the sense that he's a special kid, and at the very least, he's going to be probably doing something special at the next level as well.
I know I've gotten to know his mom and dad on social media more than anything. I want to run into them, actually, but they're just so well behind him, and that's what I love about Hastings is, we all love to speak well about each other's kids in this community, and that's going to be a pretty good kickoff because it's actually going to be taken on a knee at the 20, on a knee, so that's where Chaska will have to start with their twos. 5 minutes to go here in a 28-7 Chaska lead over the Raiders. But hey, you and I both said, let's build something for next week. Let's get something to go here for Apple Valley to take us into the weekend. And we're not done. I mean, you make another play here, get the ball back, you make this 2-score game. I'm not going to be mad at it. I'm just not. I mean, if we would have went down 35-0 there and the clock would have ran down and been good night, Irene, I would have had different feelings. But, hey, like Coach Strain has always said, our team plays until the final buzzer, and we've seen that tonight.
it's the yin and the yang. You got to find the positive and the negative, and the negative and the positive. And just because you're going to lose this one doesn't mean that you can't take some momentum forward.
Oh, fumble! Picked back up again. Smith had it, lost it, finds his bearings, and actually gains a couple yards out of that. Raiders almost got that ball back down near the red zone. Let's take a peek at this again. As Smith got it, kind of juggled it a little bit. Maybe not a clean handoff, but you find a way to make a little do with what you have with your twos and with the offensive line. That's a pretty good run for that young man.
That's the most Chaska thing I've ever seen, fumbling the ball for a gain.
Oh, it's a good team. Best back home watching, too. We will be hoping for you guys. Another fumble. The Raiders get this one back. Ball still loose. Who's got it? Raiders got it. Raiders just got a football back, didn't they? Yes! Hastings football! Yeah! Yeah! All right, let's go do it again, boys. You're knocking on the door. They threatened to fumble it last play. This time they do. Let's take a peek at this again. It looked like just a mishandled snap. Yeah, sure it was. Off the fingertips, little buttered popcorn before he went out there, like Brucey used to say in what's that movie called again? Darn it! Why? The Longest Yard. Brucey, he'd fumble the ball and he'd say, "Oh, I just had popcorn." Well, that might have been what happened there.
Well, it's no coincidence that there's 2 consecutive fumbles. There's something going on with their Reese or something, a miscommunication or somehow. I mean, it's you don't.
There could.
We'll just be glad the camera was not pointing at you.
No, I mean, Garrett Bradbury, that's all I have to say. Pass up into the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders! Matt Foss gets back behind the coverage, and we're not done yet. 23-yard touchdown pass. Hansen, one of his best passes of the year. And he connects to Matty Foss. Let's take a peek here. Nice little slant. Matty finds his way to the right side behind the coverage. What a grab. Good adjustment to make it 28-13.
This kid Hansen is so good at throwing on the run for his experience. It's unreal.
Weber hits it. All of a sudden we have a 2-score game at 28-14. Nice little boot from Weber.
Well, now this game starts to feel really different in terms of taking away, positive takeaways. You're starting to show something here. You wish this would have came maybe in the third quarter,
right,
or something. It's probably a little too late here. They might have woken up the Hawks here. You got to figure that they flipped back on here, but it's good to see that they're still strumming along or starting to strum along for the first time tonight. We'll take another look at the touchdown pass here again. Just beautiful. Look at on a rope.
Man, and he didn't have both feet on the ground. I mean, that was not an easy pass, but like he said, Hansen makes it look easy when he moves on the run on those, either boots or rollouts or whatever, and he has found success with it. I mean, a couple of passes that found their way weirdly to Lundstrom actually were very important at the time. Now we have an opportunity down 2 scores, 4:15 to go. Chaska's probably going to want to go back to, I don't want to say they're old offensive people, but at least have a possession like that to take the clock away now. Win. We will have a re-team.
And it seems like it's about decision making for Hansen, not the physical ability or the technique, because he's starting to get that down real nice.
High onside this kick. Yep, and it was. That's a very good decision by the Raider coaching staff to at least give that an opportunity. Good effort there by Weber trying the onside kick. And let's take a look at the bounce here. He got that first bounce. It just didn't go up like you'd like it to. That was really good form on that kickoff from a kid that hasn't exactly been kicking all the time. That was pretty impressive.
And they got their starters back in.
Here, we weren't kidding. All right, back into the game, Welter. Handoff goes up the middle, and a gain of only a couple. Grayhouse also back in the game. So, yeah, the starters back in now for Chaska as the Raiders have taken advantage of their twos. And a couple of nifty offensive plays, including Shady Shattuck's hurricane of a run up the field. I mean, once he got past midfield, you know he was gone. And then that pass to Foss and a great catch. Great adjustment. Wing T again, man in motion to the backfield. That's one of the receivers. Fake the handoff, keeper. It's going to be the quarterback. Oh, and that thing was nearly ripped out there on the play. Hastings had one of their guys, El Shadeko, who got in there, and he nearly took that thing out of there. And boy, if the Raiders get that football back, then this really becomes crazy.
Yeah, no kidding, especially with the recent explosivity for the Raiders offense. But you're right, he just kind of wraps around behind him, and yeah, he nearly got his hand in there. Crucial third down here.
2:57 to go. Here's the keeper, and that will be a first down. Welter runs it for about 5, and that's enough for a first down.
First down, Chaska.
And he's just so good in those short yardage situations. It's kind of funny because you know he's 6'7". He stands out over everybody, but even though you can see where he's making the progress, I mean, nobody's having too much success
after
taking
the game,
him down.
I'm sorry, Mailman. After the game, we're going to have a little recap of some of the touchdowns coming up as well, and we'll take a look at those after this game is over. Wing T again. Man in motion to the backfield, one of the receivers. This time the Raiders stopped Grayhouse, and they might have actually gotten him behind the line this time, very close if not to the line, but the Raider D doing their thing here, and they're not calling timeouts, so we'll see what ends up coming to be here. But I am so proud of our kids right now, Mailman, because this squad could have just mailed it in with 12 minutes to go, a whole fourth quarter, the whole bit. They didn't do that. They came back, not only made a couple of statements, but made them put their first team back into the game. I mean, if you're the Raiders right now, you've got to be excited heading over to Rosemount to play Apple Valley next week.
We don't want them mailing in anything. That's for me.
That's your job.
I'm out of work if they do.
And off left side, Grayhouse first down. And there goes that whole thing as he's gone for a touchdown. And, well, 34-14.
He's running to Rosemount now.
You are not kidding. That'll pretty well do it.
Well, like I was saying, I think you score those 2 touchdowns really quick. It's good to see, obviously, but you did awaken Chaska. You know, they put their backups in. They were ready to call this quits. You made it interesting, and they bring in their starting quarterback. They bring in their starting running back, Greathouse, and there you see. I mean, good to see that he's back in the game. Maybe not so much from a scoreboard perspective if you're a Hastings fan, but
I'm going to say that was a little statement too from Chaska. Just to say, it wasn't that close. They want to say, all right, you got a couple on our twos, but we're going to come back and prove that we have controlled this game.
There's a little malice behind that.
You know that. And the flickering phone lights far side waving goodbye to the Raiders, and they are walking their way to the gates, are the Raiders student section. So
they're not wrong.
They're not wrong. That's about it for the Raiders here, and we'll find out if they can maybe return one, and maybe they throw Shady back there to try, but there's no reason to get him hurt right now with the game where it is, and everything is pretty well determined. After the game, we'll have a little recap of some of the scores coming up here. And then don't forget, if you're watching live, you can always rewatch this game, especially you Chaska fans, and have a lot of fun watching it again. Or if you were here tonight and want to rewatch it, go to our YouTube, Hastings Community Television. Find it there. We've had fun tonight, even though it hasn't gone the Raiders' way. We saw some good things, but the Raiders taking on a top 10 team in the state. We'll see another one later on in the year, the final game of the regular season at MEA Wednesday.
It was a very good litmus test. You know where you
You're
stack
exactly
up
right.
against the best.
That's why I'm not mad. I'm not at all. That's going to be a touchback. There's no reason to be. I mean, again, you know what you're up against. First time with this new nucleus to take on a team that's ranked in the top 10. And like you and I mentioned in the second half, too, early in the second half, is, you know what you have to do now to contain a team like that or to beat a team like that. And you know what? That also lingers to a team like St. Thomas, because you know they're going to always be in the swing of things when it comes to a top sectional seed. You might have to see them in a championship game. So there's a lot of different places that this game tonight can be used as a learning experience to make this team grow as we get towards playoffs.
And the good thing is, too, not to discredit Apple Valley or Two Rivers, but there is levels to this. You can never sleep on anybody, but their next two games are Apple Valley and Two Rivers, so they have a couple of weeks before you face another really top caliber team. So it's not just a week.
Oh, almost a first down catch. Looking far side. Good pass there by Hansen, too, and just misconnected there off the fingertips as the Raiders sent out one of their running back, or I should say, running backs, and Hagen, kind of a wing back, if you will. Proud of the guys. I really am. I came in with not a whole lot of expectations just because I haven't seen Chaska live, since, a long time for that matter. Might have been in the playoffs back when Woodbury, back when they were, Chaska Chan hasn't for that matter still. Here's Hansen on the run again, throws out a pass. That's going to be caught. First down Raiders, and that one this time is caught by the aforementioned Elliot Hagen. Nice grab there. Hey, you get in the end zone again. I mean, I'm not going to, complain about it. Let's find a way. One more quick one. Let's score another one. Minute 19 to go in this one. Hansen passes, has a man, caught, Birkin. 3 guys on him, shakes a tackle, carries half the Chaska student body to the 41 before he's thrown back by half the defense. So Birkin showing his strength that we know he has. The after the catch stuff that we know he can do, and no fear in Birkin whatsoever.
Takes half a defense to tackle him.
Literally. Pitch out. Shady. 45. Midfield. Carries a couple of tacklers. First down. Shady will be over 100. We'll check in with Dick Craig later on, and we'll have more in our next broadcast, of course, on what has happened the last, week and a half. When we have the fun stuff coming up, of course, back for homecoming anyway. That's going to be coming up. And there's a pass. Foss, how many receptions does Matty Foss have? He might have 5 or 6 tonight now, 4 or 5 probably.
I really like that they're still trying here. You can tell this game really still does matter to this team because they're still pushing and shoving. They're still playing with tempo. They're still playing with passion.
Yes.
This is not a meaningless situation for the players.
So proud of my team right now. I'm extremely proud of our kids that came out in full force tonight. You Pink student fans were fantastic. I know you didn't have much to yell about until later in the game, but you kids have shown me nothing but sportsmanship here throughout the year. As you look at the Raiders' 2 wins, it'll get their first loss here tonight before going to Rosemount next week to play Apple Valley. It is now a 7 o'clock start at Rosemount, and then Two Rivers back home, St. Thomas Academy on the road for their homecoming, Burnsville back home before we go to East on a Wednesday and round out the regular season before opening up the playoffs that weekend.
We're not doing that Mankato game, are we?
Hunter, we better not be. unless he's paying for our hotel and all of our Culvers down there too. We'll talk turkey after the game. 29 seconds left. Here's Hansen. Oh, nearly picked. Okay.
And you better believe they would have ran that one back.
That would have been a touchdown. That would have been a touchdown.
Broken up by number 25, Leonard Sanders.
Tell me both what? Big thumbs down? Oh, this down. Oh, like that? Well, I'm trying. It was down, I think. Unless my volume went down the drain, perhaps. One receiver out to the right side. That is Foss. 26 seconds. Back to pass again. Caught Shady. 40. 35, 30. Out of bounds. Stop the clock. We're going to score again. Let's go. Let's do it, boys.
Shady's going to try.
Let's go. Yeah, Shady just looking so good again.
Well, and not that it's just about padding your stats, obviously, But I mean, at the end of this, through 3 quarters, they kind of contained them. I think when we get the final stats from Dick Craig at 11:30 tonight, I think he's going to have a surprising amount of yards.
And we'll tell you what, the fact that we get our stats at 11:30 at night, the day of the game, that's how good Dick Craig is, folks.
Oh, he's the best.
Oh my goodness, that's intercepted. Flag. We might keep this. I don't know if this is on us or not. It's be unsportsmanlike against us. Okay, that'll do it. Knee, and we're gonna go home, and we're gonna go to Culver's actually first. Again, special thank you to the Spoolhouse and to Culver's of Hastings. We love you. Thank you for continuing to put these games on the air. And if you too would like to help save community television, please do so, because with more and more people cutting cable each day, funding for community TV stations is in rapid decline. To help keep these games on the air, we need your support. To learn more about how you can get involved, head to savecommunitytv.com for more information, or consider leaving a donation at hastingstv.org/donate, and that way you can get it right to us in Hastings. It will go to support Hastings programs, Hastings content for you, and of course we couldn't do it without our wonderful cast of characters. I mean, all of our cameramen that dealt with rain and everything else throughout the day. Hunter, that's been pulling his hair out for the good all night long to let you guys all be part of this one tonight. 35-14, Raiders do get it back. That unsportsmanlike conduct is actually against Chaska, not Hastings. Not Hastings. Good news. So Birkin with a catch here will keep the game going for albeit a moment. One more timeout with 6 seconds.
And you got to feel there's probably a little frustration from Chaska knowing that they're still playing down to the final play. If you're Chaska, you got to be like, hey, this game is over. I mean, you got to feel they feel some type of way about them still trying when they probably felt, before they scored it was all over. As we take a look at their schedule, like we talked about earlier, this does not get any easier.
And you know what? To be honest, this team could very well run the table. They're that good. But if they do run the table, and you and I are talking that MEA about, hey, what's Chaska doing? And we find out that them and Newp, they're blowing New Prague out 42-0. You and I are going to look at each other and go, we're not shocked. This team is that good. So, I mean, wow, what a schedule. And if they're able to put together a big winning season, they deserve to be to which the spot and the seed that they get in the upcoming playoffs.
This loss is probably going to age very well for Hastings. If Chaska ended up being a 3 or 4 win team, I would be as shocked as I've been about anything.
For QRF seeding, stuff like that. I mean, this is going to look a lot better in the Pioneer Press tomorrow morning, if you know what I mean.
Well, scoring the 2 touchdowns is going to look better, too.
Out of the gun. Hansen. Oh, that should be a flag. No flag, but you get one more play.
I think you're going to be hard-pressed for them to call one in this.
Oh, give me one. I'm going to cry for one all day, and we'll see. Maybe their feet got caught up as we look at the replay. Hansen back, and they just got tangled up.
Probably wasn't a catchable.
Intended for Lundstrom, who kind of deserves a touchdown, made a couple nice catches, and the game was still really in play, if you will. Colvey. Nice to see Coach Colvin. Always nice to see my goalie friend. We all stick together. You all know that. Saw another goalie this last weekend. We'll talk about that in a moment. Out of the shotgun. Final play of the game. Hansen puts it up, hit from behind, and a flag on the play, so this might not be over quite yet.
It is absolutely going to be an offensive holding.
And the game is over.
Of that, I'm certain.
Mailman is always right. Hence, unfortunately, the game ends. Your final score tonight, 35-14. The Raiders fall, but I am so happy and proud of the way this team played against the top 10 team in the state. And I know, Mailman, you feel the same way. And you and I are very excited about what's going to happen next week at Rosemount because, like you said, this is a team that doesn't have that line. This is a team that has struggled a bit as we take a look at some of these touchdowns tonight, led by that big quarterback in Matthew Welter.
Yeah, I believe that was the 39-yard touchdown here in the third quarter. And then here's the fourth quarter touchdown here from Shattuck, which kind of led the, I don't want to say a mini comeback because I feel the game probably was firmly in the hands of the Chaska Hawks, but that's what started it here for Hastings. Shattuck gets his touchdown, helps his yard total. really kept the Raiders in the game mentally too, which is so important. And then here's the final touchdown of the game. It's a 22-yard completion from Hansen to Foss. Beautifully placed pass. And then here's the final touchdown for Chaska. That's the Great House, about 40, 50-yard touchdown run. But you're totally right. I mean, if they finish this game and it's 28-0, 35-0, I think you feel a lot different than it being 35-14, where the Raiders kept in it. You know, they didn't care about the score. They went out to play, and they were calling timeouts down 21 with 9 seconds to go. I mean, yeah, I think you feel as good as you can about a lot. It's still a loss. It still sucks.
Yeah.
But I think you feel there's a lot of silver linings in this game for sure.
Raiders fall tonight. The final score 35-14 as the Chaska Hawks celebrate with their student section. It's a great time to sign it off for the night. Raiders will go to Rosemount to take on Apple Valley next week, and here on HCTV, we have Hastings Raiders girls swim and dive. Their season underway. A big one with Matamidi. That coming up on the 18th. And then we got the soccer doubleheader with Simley back home. That's going to be a great showdown. Likely to be a high-scoring affair. Hastings football back home with Two Rivers. I can't wait for that one. It's going to be fun on the 26th. And, of course, the soccer doubleheader at home with Matamidi. That could have conference championship implications even at that time, yes. So lots of fun coming up, folks. For the mailman, Owen Ely, I'm Nick Tuckner. I want to thank Hunter Pinkey, Ian Andrusak, Max Slocum, Kurt Radke, Tori Sellner. All you guys are rock stars and the reason why we were able to put this game on tonight in the face of adversity with the weather. Hunter was going crazy all night, but like I said, for the good, this man made us go tonight, and all those cameramen out there, they did the same. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. Best of luck to the Chaska Hawks. We will be pulling for you from Hastings this year, no doubt about that, as they continue a very tough schedule. Final score tonight, 35-14. For Mailman, I'm Tuck. We'll send it back to the studio. Good night, everyone.